Hey y'all, it's Missniecytv and I'm here to do a review for Sistas Season 8, Episode 3. The episode picks up where left off and the girls find Robin in Andy's penthouse and they're like, what is he doing here? The girls make a couple jokes and then Robin's like, it's nice to see you two ladies, but duty calls and I gotta get back to the firm. And the girls are like, the firm? They're like, so this is more than just a visit? Robin's like, why don't I let Andi tell you why I'm here? Robin leaves and Andi's trying to change the topic of the conversation. She's like, do y'all want coffee? They're like, girl, screw that coffee, but like, tell us what's going on. Andi's like, I know it might seem strange, but I'm working. They're like, no, it looks like you're being a hoe. The girls are like, we're not here to judge you. Andi's like, you know what, I actually lied. They're like, duh, but what did you lie? Andi's like, I'm not actually in love with Gary. And they're like, oh, thank God. And then Andi's still stalling to actually tell him the truth. And Danny's like, you're already at the door. Why don't you just walk through it? Then after her lying for an entire season, she decides to tell the truth about how Gary was blackmailing her, how Gary took pictures of Jordan and he was going to use them to ruin his campaign if she didn't marry him. And Sabrina's like, so you did all this for Jordan? Danny's like, does Jordan know what you were willing to do for him? Andy's like, no, because I haven't been able to talk to him. That's a lie because you told this man the whole story at the altar before you were about to marry Gary. Sabrina's like, this is kind of romantic. And I'm like, what? That would actually be believable if she had great chemistry with Jordan, but she don't. Then she tells the girls that Gary is still alive. And the girls are like, well, there's nothing that can keep you and Jordan apart now since Gary's in the ICU. Andy's like, well, Robin can. And the girls are like, what does Robin have to do with it? And Andy's like, Robin's representing me in the case. Andy's like, I don't want to be with Robin, but Robin came in at the right time because during the interrogation, I was about to tell the agent everything until Karen's like, don't you think it's mighty convenient that Robin comes in after Gary gets stabbed and he's representing you in the case? It's like, it's just optics. He wants me to play the role of the dutiful fiance. They're like, okay, but why are you listening to Robin like he doesn't have a motive himself? And Andy's being dumb and she's like, he doesn't have a motive. Andy's like, Robin wouldn't do that. They're like, how do you know? Can you trust Robin? And he's like, I hope so. And then Andi goes into this whole thing about when she's seen Gary, she didn't feel bad or sad. She's like, she actually felt relieved and the girls let her know that they've been interrogated too. And Andy's like, the girls are like, we got your back if you did do this. And Andy's like, so y'all think I stabbed Gary? They're like, well, you did have motive too. Andy's like, I put this on a friendship that I didn't do it. They're like, it's okay if you did, because look at all the stuff that he put you through. Andy's like, look at all the stuff that Zach put Karen through. And Karen's like, well, Zach is not in the ICU fighting for his life. Andy's like, well, I'm not the only person in the room with a motive to kill Gary. And then they start all accusing each other. And they're like, Danny is the most liable to do it because she's the most violent. While they're talking, Andy's phone is ringing. And Sabrina's like, well, Gary had enemies in all of ATL, so there's no telling who could have did it. Then Andi starts going in about how she feels bad that Gary is like this and she doesn't wish death on him. And Sabrina's like, Karen and Sabrina start talking about how Gary's been a part of their lives. And Sabrina's like, I never experienced death like this, so it's hard to take in. And Karen tells Andi, you can't help who you love. They all really sound pathetic at this point. The only one with common sense is Danny because she's like, what are y'all talking? Then Andi's like, I'm sorry that y'all had to go through this. I never should have put y'all through this. And they're like, it's okay. And then Andi's like, I really feel bad for Penelope because she really stayed with Gary because she wanted a father for her baby. And then they're like, we got your back the same way you had our back in college. And then they start talking about their geology class and how hard it was. And everybody starts talking about their grades. Karen and Sabrina got a C, Andi got a B, and Danny got an A-. And then Danny starts alluding to the fact that she slept with the professor. But she's like, nah, I just liked her. Danny tells them that Tony thinks that she should go talk to her therapist about the whole situation because he thinks that she's just making jokes out of it. And Andi's like, yeah, you should go talk to your therapist because I don't want to be the reason you have a setback in your mental health. Over at the law firm, Fatima runs in and Hayden's like, you're late, I should report you. And then Fatima's like, well, go ahead and snitch like the little bee that you are. Hayden's like, we gotta do something about your attitude. And Fatima's like, enjoy that little power trip that you're on because the first thing my girl's gonna do when she gets managing partners is send you back. Hayden's like, if, because you know, white people don't support black people who try to kill their fiancés. And Fatima's like, she didn't do it. Hayden's like, well, did she send her assistant to do it? I know you have connections since you like doing illegal activities. You might call your mafia queen pin cousin to help you too. Hayden's like, are you admitting that you did it? Fatima's like, no. Hayden's like, well, it might be the ex-con that you go down on every night. And that's when Robin walks out of his office. Fatima's like, what are you doing here? I thought you were in London. Robin's like, I was, but I seen that y'all needed help out here, so I came to help you. Then Hayden starts moving up to Robin and talking about Andi. Starts talking about Fatima trying to make her look bad. He's like, she's not even an attorney. Fatima's like, I'm not an attorney yet, but I'm in law school. Robin's like, when you pass the bar, I hope you look at the firm as one of your options. Fatima's like, I'll definitely keep that in mind. Robin's like, oh, and Hayden, I need to see you in Andy's office. That's when Robin leaves, and Fatima's like, oh yeah, somebody's about to get fired. Then she slaps Hayden, and Hayden's like, shut up. Over in Andy's office, Hayden tries to smooth up to Robin again, and Robin cuts him off, and he's basically like, I need you to take over Andy's caseload. Hayden's like, what you mean? I'm a tax. Andy does divorce law, and Robin's like, with everything going on with Andy right now, is too much for her to handle, basically. Hayden basically tries to throw her under the bus, and Robin's like, that's none of your concern. And if you want to sell that, she actually bought one of the top clients here. Robin's like, you even seem surprised that I'm asking this. Hayden's like, I am. Robin's like, why? Because you are part of the scheme to get me out of here. Hayden's like, yeah. Robin's like, well, that's water under the bridge now. Can you handle this caseload or not? Hayden's like, yeah. Robin's like, well, Fatima will be working with you too. Hayden's like, that's perfect. And Hayden leaves, and Robin's like, keep your friends close and enemies close. I just hope that Robin has a plan to get Hayden up out of here. After the meeting, Hayden runs back into Fatima, and Fatima's like, so when the mover's coming to get your stuff? Hayden's like, so you having a good time with this? Fatima's like, I wish Andy was here to see this. And Hayden's like, you shouldn't talk to your supervisor like that. Sorry to bust your bubble, but Robin gave me Andy's caseload. Fatima's like, get out of my face with that. What you talking about? Hayden's basically like, if you don't believe me, go ask for yourself. And Fatima's like, so I could look dumb in front of my boss like you do? Then he starts talking about how if he makes managing partner, he's gonna fire Andy and Fatima first, and Fatima's probably gonna end up in a woman's. Once Fatima's done talking to Hayden, Robin comes out of his office, and he's like, you going somewhere, Fatima? Fatima's like, I'm just going to go run an errand. Robin's basically like, no, you're not. Well, I was going to heard that this place was a revolving door, and I can't have that, so go back to your office and do the firm's. He's like, you're gonna have to run your own errands on your personal time. That's when Robin goes back in his office, and Fatima's trying to call Andy to let her know what's happening, but she's not answering. So Fatima gets a call back, and she thinks it's Andy, so she starts talking, and Zach is like, no, it's actually me. You need to check your caller ID. He's like, what's wrong with you? I can hear it in your voice. Fatima's like, you know me so well. And then she starts going in about his Hayden, and he's just doing the same old, same old. Zach is like, do you need me to come up there? And Fatima's like, no, Zach, we don't need you having more crash outs at the law firm. She never tells Zach that Hayden is working as her boss now, and I wonder why she didn't tell him. We're at the hospital. We see like a 5-second still shot of the door, and then we see somebody open the door, and they're wearing all black, and they have a syringe in their hand. Definitely have something in that syringe that will finish the job, and I'm like, who could it be that's doing this? We see whoever this is going to Gary's room with no problem. There's no security, there's no nurses around. They go into Gary's room, and they stick the injection inside of Gary's IV. And then we see them walk out, and they got all black on, a black jacket, a black hoodie. Whoever is doing this must want Gary gone for real to stick a lethal injection inside of his IV. Could it be Hudson? It's none of the girls. It could be Jordan, Richard, Tony. Back over at the law firm, we see Fatima on the phone, and she finally gets in touch with Andy, and she's trying to tell her everything that's going on. See that Andy finally made it to the hospital. As Fatima's talking, she cuts her off, and she's like, Robin's been such a good help. And Fatima's like, look, I just want to tell you what he's out here doing. And Fatima just wants to tell her that Hayden's her boss now. How Robin gave Andy's caseload to Hayden. Andy's not hearing a word Fatima's saying, so she's like, can we just talk when I have time to catch up? Fatima hangs up the phone frustrated because she's like, I wasn't able to tell her nothing. That's when Robin comes out of his office. He was eavesdropping. He's like, Fatima, what are you still doing out here? Fatima's like, I was actually coming to look for you to see if you need anything. Robin's like, what I need for you to do is tell me what that phone call was. Robin is not coming to play right now. He's trying to protect Andy at all costs. I understand that, but you ain't gotta be rude either. Back over at the hospital, Andy's off the phone, and Hudson's standing behind her like a creep. And he's like, Andy, where do you think you're going? And I'm like, Hudson, you have so much animosity towards Andy, and she didn't even do this. Hudson, you're starting to look very suspect to me. Let me know what you guys think about the episode. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on bell notifications. Bye!